If you experience a thread break or you run out of bobbin when you're sewing on your Mach 3, there's a couple different ways that you can recover from that. So I wanted to review those. And the first is that when your machine thread break sensor detects that there's no movement on the check spring, so it assumes that one of those two situations have happened, this screen will pop up. And what you do is choose resume, and wherever you have the head, there's crosshairs that will appear that will show the direction of sewing. So you can move your head around to where the break happened and see exactly what direction the pink line indicates the direction that the machine is going to travel. So even if you're close, it'll pick a point, and just by jiggling the head, you can choose a different point and look at it to see if indeed it confirms where that thread break happened. And after you indicate that point with your head, you would say move, and the machine will send the pattern to the controller and allow you to restart it. So it'll cycle through the stop pause screen and then come up and say continue. And sometimes what can happen, you choose continue once and the machine will make a slight adjustment. You'll do your bobbin pickup and then continue again and the machine will start sewing. But every once in a while, you'll get stuck in this loop where then you'll have to hit continue again and it goes through the same series of screens, and by the time you finally get the machine started, you've had to hit continue about 10,000 times. So what I want to do is show you that there's a workaround on that. So let me get out of this. And we will pretend that we've had a thread break in that same spot. And rather than go through the resume screen, select the edit button when that screen first comes up, and it will allow you to get in and choose your tools and do some editing. So what I'm going to do, instead of going through that whole resume, move, continue, 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 continue process, I'm going to come in on the pattern. I have my head where the break happened, and I'm going to split it using this icon, and I'll zoom in and split it a few stitches behind where the thread actually broke. So I'm going to overlap it. So I'll click there and choose accept, and then let's say this part of the pattern is already stitched, so I'll select it, right click, and dequeue the part that has already sewn. And now when I send this to the machine, it just goes straight to that spot where I want it to and will stitch without me having to go through that continue. You'll have to hit it once, of course, and then do your bobbin pickup and hit it again, but you won't get stuck in that loop. There are times that you'll be sewing a pattern that actually overstitches, so it can be hard to choose the correct direction. And using this technique, the split technique versus the resume technique, gives you kind of a slick option. So we're back in that situation where I'm going to choose the split option, and I'll go ahead and click on here, and if this was a double line, I'm not really sure which direction it's going to go, but I can use this forward or back arrow and make sure that I'm getting exactly the spot that I want. And that's not available in the resume screen yet, but that would be a very nice feature if any of you feel so inclined that you want to contact Innova and ask for that to be able to move back and forth to make sure you're going the right direction. You can contact them through their contact screen on the website, on the innovalongarm.com website. Finally, one other thing I want to mention is that if the check spring stops moving, you'll get this error message on your computer screen, and this will show up on your lightning stitch screen. And what I want to warn you about is be very careful that you do not move your head when you get this message. Recently, I've had a couple situations where the needle has been in the quilt, and you don't want to reach over to grab the head assuming that you've run out of bobbin and give it a tug and tear a quilt. So make sure that you say okay and that needle will come up, and then you can move your machine. I think that this is a little bit of a safety issue and might be another enhancement request if it's not a mistake in the software that they are already working on. But it would be much safer that that needle always is in an up position anytime you get a thread break sensor alarm.